Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Live from Hulos Sulu. This is Queen Helen Abdurrajak, Elizabeth III, March 9, 2022. Good morning, Global Earth. Good morning to all our royal family all over the globe. Good morning to all our family in Alpha Omega Development International Foundation na it is already all over the archipelago. I am trying to speak in English. This is the main reason so that the entire world will understand that our mission has been completed in accordance to the divine mandate. Good morning also to all our listeners in the different sultanate and particularly to Sultan Pokan, who always make a step for delivering it to other people. To you also, Sultan Kayulawan, Pandala Pasandalan, congratulations. You have exhibited patience and perseverance. To you, Datu Abdillah, thank you for helping our trainees, those in other parts of the world, especially now the OFW. And here we have the Sultan, of course, Raja Muhammad Gamar Mamay, the Commanding-in-Chief of the Royal Armed Forces. To you, Sultan Lanao, thank you for moving silently. Sultanate of Rizal, now the training camp is intact. All of you that would like to join, because I am preparing for counter-offensive move, defensive move, because of this war they are instigating. And to you also, Dato Lajon, at least you know that the tribes are important in the different mountains of Region 10, 11, and 12. So, to you, Sultan Edgar Lopez, my blood of the Raja Sulaiman from Srivijaya. Thank you, Princess Lucia, Princess Poljanan for being there, and Dato Elimer Dimitias for working so hard day and night together with our family in Negros and Iloilo. So this is already a very good impact. When I started my skeletal framework, which the ARMM used, the Peace Talk used, it is the main priority to consolidate all the faction groups so that they will become the Royal Armed Forces. It is an exhibition of leadership to be able to get them. So the skeletal framework was gotten by the Peace Talk, forwarded to Najib, and funded by them. So the Peace Talk became the start of the conspiracy when they have countered my movement. Congratulations to you, because at least through you, justice shall be served. If there is no basis, justice cannot be imposed. But because of you, ARMM, now BARM, you will receive the outright program of the divinity. You didn't realize that in August 26, 2010, I have already designed my movement through the skeletal framework, through the economic projection of movement that I would do. my consolidation of all the cooperatives in Maguindanao, in the entire Mindanao. It is intact. Whether you like it or not, all of those people that I have talked with, even if they have betrayed me, sold me, still I will be going back to them. So I would like to read to you the Royal Decree 101, which is the offshoot of my legitimacy in doing my job from 2010 down to 2012, when the eruption of the Sabah standoff came, and then Ricky Nathaniel, the prince, the blood of our forefathers also, but the thing is, he has allied himself with the FBR, with Busoy, that has stolen my movement. So there are steps, there are markings, there are bases for you to be part of the litigation process. I have given you what I have, but you used my documents for your own defense in trying to put us down. So the redemption of all assets, bank accounts, golds, and diamonds deposited in all prime banks all over the world, buried assets and natural resources, the land territories of the Royal Imperial Lupusug, Kingdom of the East, Sultanate of Sulu and North Borneo, and its sovereign people from the bondage of the oppressors and suppressors of the political and military government of the Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia, with the participation of Singapore and Brunei, that would call for the immediate recall of the Queen of Southeast Asia and Queen of England, Her Royal Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, to return the power to the rightful heirs and successors of the Royal Empire of the East, His Excellency, the Honorable ICJ Sulu and North Borneo, Sovereign Judge, the Sultan of Sulu and North Borneo, Raja Muhammad Gamar Mamay Hassan Abdul Rajak, the Royal Charter Company, Sultanate of Sulu and North Borneo, Lupusug, United Kingdom 1304-1405, and Her Excellency, the Honorable ICJ Sulu and North Borneo, Sovereign Judge, the Queen of the Philippine Islands, Her Royal Highness, Queen Maria Makiling Helen Fatima Nazaria Panulino Abdurrajak, and for the signing of the Peace Defense Economic Treaty in March 14, 2014, thus making the Royal ICJ as the umbrella of the peace and order and massive development of the entire Sulu archipelago, with the tenure of 50 years that will end in March 14, 2064. In 2013, we have already negotiated this with all the agencies. However, the tenure of 50 years shall be renegotiated because of the lapse of the program that had been infiltrated by the bad elements, the bad sultans that had blocked and interrupted my program. So to continue with the Royal Decree 101, we declare today, January 31st, 2014 at 12:05 p.m., on the failure of the 72 hours ultimatum for the government of the Philippines, caretaker President Benigno Simeon Aquino III, and the cabinets to honor the authority of the Queen Maria Makiling Helen Fatima Nazaria Panulino Abdurrajak and Raja Muhammad Gamar Mamay Hassan Abdurrajak, and the call for ceasefire until March 14, 2014, signing of Peace Defense Economic Treaty. As such, the government of the Philippines shall be charged for treason, rebellion, and sedition by the Royal Empire Higher Court of Sharia of the Royal Imperial Lupasug, United Kingdom of Sulu and North Borneo. This legal steps is based on 1. That the Carpenter Agreement got its default by the government of the United States in conspiracy of the Philippine government shall be given sanction for the connivance with Sultan Amirul Umrah Amir Bangsa, Ferdinand Idrolin Marcos, Fidel V. Ramos, Gloria Arroyo, and their cohorts. In this light, the heirs and successors shall impose damages and proper compensation through the Royal ICJ Supreme Judge, His Royal Highness Ricky Nathaniel, Chairman of ICJ and the new government of the Philippine Islands. That was the offer. That was the main issue that I have given the Royal ICJ. However, as I said earlier, it is to be renegotiated because of the infiltration of those sultan that also went to His Highness Ricky Nathaniel. 2. That the killing of Sultan Jamalul Kiram II, also known as Sahibul Gari Abdurrajak of Maimbung, Sulu, in June 6, 1936, should be given justice, and that his killing led to multiple massacres from Jabida to Pata to Sabah stand-up to Zamboanga stand-up, and now the killings in Ligwas and Mars as ordered by the same manipulators inside the office of the President of the Republic of the Philippines. Real culprit should be litigated in the court of law of the Royal Imperial High Court of Sharia of the Lupasug, United Kingdom of Sulu and North Borneo. Whoever finds guilty beyond reasonable doubt shall be jailed, reclusion perpetua, and according to the law of Sharia of the Hadith and Quran. 3. That in conspiracy and protectiveness of the royal family in Brunei Darussalam, they kept the real identity of Jamalul Kiram II and never linked him to the royalty of Brunei, and even his name as Almarhum Pangeran Permanca Sahibul Rey Wal Maswara Pangeran Anak Haji Muhammad Alam Almarhum Pangeran Bandahara Pangeran Anak Abdul Rahman was covered and misled as the years goes on, so as not to connect to his son Pangeran Muhammad Kamaluddin and his daughter Pangeran Raja Saliha. But today and onward, this truth of direct lineage must now be known throughout the banking institutions and the Bank of England, World Bank, Central Bank of the Philippines, and Bank Negara, and the high courts of all political and government of the world in favor of the heirs and successors of the Royal Empire of the East, Lupasug, United Kingdom of Sulu and North Borneo, Raja Muhammad Gamar Mamay Hassan Abdurrajak, and Queen Maria Makiling Helen Fatima Nazaria Panulino Abdurrajak. 4th, that the instrument of cession of the territory of North Borneo done by Sultan Muhammad Ismail Kiram, the appointed Sultan of Ferdinand Idrolin Marcos, and acted on the authority of the Ruma Bichara is null and void on the basis of the conspiracy in the killing of Sultan of Sulu and North Borneo, Sultan Jamalul Kiram II, and the concealment of the true identity of Sahibul Gari Abdurrajak and Sahibul Ray of Brunei, also known as Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin II, led to the conspiracy and deceit of placing political heirs in 1939, Dayang Haji Piandao Putli Tarhata Kiram, Putli Sakinor Kiram, Ismail Kiram, Dato Punjungan Kiram, Siti Mariam Kiram, Siti Rada Kiram, Siti Putli Jahara Kiram, and Mora Napsa, the claimants that filed case to the High Court of Borneo, Civil Suit Number 16/39, entitled Dayang Piandao Kiram of Holo, Philippines, and others versus the government of Borneo and others for the purpose of declaring them as heirs and successors of the Sultan of Sulu, entitlement to receive the said annual rental. In December 1939, the High Court of North Borneo rendered decision declaring the above 9 heirs as the private heirs, entitled to receive what the said court called session money, but the heirs called rental, whichever their fight be, we Raja Muhammad Gamar Mamay Hassan Abdurrajak and Queen Maria Makiling Helen Fatima Nazaria Panulino Abdurrajak declared that the said decision of the court is overruled by our existence and us, the genuine redeemers of the sovereignty of Sulu and North Borneo, wealth, assets, and properties after the expiration of the Malaysia-Philippines-Indonesia Agreement in September 16, 2013. That even the decision of the High Court of North Borneo that the successors in sovereignty of the Sultan are the government of the Philippine Islands becomes illegal and null and void in the basis of the redemption of the genuine redeemers Raja Muhammad Gamar Mamay Hassan Abdurrajak and Queen Maria Makiling Helen Fatima Nazaria Panulino Abdurrajak, and that the three political government, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, represented by their head of states, are considered caretakers of the Sultan of Sulu and North Borneo since June 6, 1936. Therefore, the judgments of the Justice C.F.C. Makaski of the High Court of Borneo, dated December 18, 1939, is considered null and void upon the ICJ ruling reference BOE Mindanao Economy, Thursday, October 10, 2013, that said redemption is back to the rightful owners of the sovereignty of the entire Sulu archipelago of the Royal Empire of the East, Lupasug, United Kingdom, Sultanate of Sulu in North Borneo. That in June 20, 1946, the British company, through the representation of Gustavus Baron de Overbeck and Alfred Dent, that signed the lease agreement with our grandfather Jamalul Alam in January 22, 1878, transferred to the British government its rights and interest over the territory of North Borneo, could only be fixed by the heirs and successors, Raja Muhammad Gamar Mamay Hassan Abdurrajak and Queen Maria Makiling Helen Fatima Nazaria Panulino Abdurrajak, as the redeemers of the said territories to be dealt with the Royal International Court of Justice, headed by His Highness Ricky Nathaniel, and the royalties of Great Britain, Queen Elizabeth II of England, and the royalties of Brunei Darussalam. All claimants shall be given due punishment if they continue claiming with the proof that they are the bloods that concealed the truth and killed Jamalul Kiram II, which is Ama Ali, and the crucial conspiracy done by the government of the Philippines since 1936, as evidenced by the House of Concurrent Resolution number 42, second CRP that had been passed by the House of Representatives in April 28, 1950, certified by Secretary of the House of Representatives Nene Pimentel, that the concurrent resolution expressing the sense of the Congress of the Philippines that North Borneo belongs to the heirs of the Sultan of Sulu and North Borneo and to the ultimate sovereignty of the Republic of the Philippines, and authorizing the President to conduct negotiations of the resolution of ownership, sovereign jurisdiction over said territory. Therefore, upon our declaration of the instrument of cession as null and void, number 4 of the above declaration make the entire sovereign authority of the government of the Philippines as illegal. We denounce their criminal steps in signing agreements illegally with government of Malaysia since 1936 and using illegal assumption into power of Sultan Amirul Umrah Amir Bangsa that unlawfully controlled the power together with Peninsula Raja Buayan, Sultanate of Zamboanga, Sultanate of Basilan, Sultanate of Palawan, Sultanate of Tawi-Tawi, with their sovereign royal armed forces, the Moro National Liberation Front, Moro Islamic Liberation Front, Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters, to be fixed and be rehabilitated, together with the National Liberation Front of Southern Philippines and the armed forces of under the command of the Queen Maria Makiling, Helen Fatima Nazaria Panulino Abdurrajak, and the appointed President of the Republic of the Philippines Islands, that is Darlan Barcelon, and the Prime Minister of the Tribal, Hussein Hinco, and the 4 chairmen, which we have put into documents: Nur Miswari, MNLF, Ibrahim Murad, MILF, Ustaz Amiril Ombrakato, BIFF, Sharif Professor Muhammad Abu Bakar, NLF-SP, and the Royal Imperial High Court of Sharia, King Council of Sulu and North Borneo, even Sharif Abdul Patah Hajibun, that defied us, is here in the tribal government in support of the implementation of Peace Defense Economic Program with our implementer, that is the one in Zamboanga, and the Queen Council Movement of Unification, Restoration and Rehabilitation and Reconstruction. 7th, that this day, January 31st, 2014, is the end of the political suppression and oppression of the sovereign people of the entire Sulu Archipelago, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, Sabah, and Sarawak to Kalimantan, North Borneo. We, the heirs and successors, Raja Muhammad Gamar Mamay Hassan Abdurrajak and Queen Maria Makiling Helen Fatima Nazaria Panulino Abdurrajak, redeemed everything that belongs to the Royal Empire of the East, Lupasug, United Kingdom of Sulu, and North Borneo, its sovereign people and its land with buried assets and natural resources, the gold, oil, and diamonds beneath our sovereign territories. That is the most important royal decree ever laid down to the whole world. The agencies remain intact. The people executed, even if they have defied, they are part of the litigation process. Null and void. Now, all of you claimants, for none and all Sultan, you have not seen. There are legal documents to defeat, to refute, to dispute your claim. We are alive. That's why you kept on killing We are here to defend our people. Upon the surfacing of two legal witnesses, the elders, the fathers, Ferdinand Idrelin Marcos, the real one, and of course, the real Sultan Ismail Ikiram under the banner of Jamalul Kiram II. You see, even if they have played their games, there is always someone to fix them. And this is my moment to fix the kingdom for you to benefit. So Global Earth, Russian family, Ukrainian family, help implement, put end the war, because you can never win. In every war, every one of you are losers. Do not put the lives of the people into danger, into death. So every one of you, people of Lupasub, Maguindanao, congratulations to you, because I know unification is at hand. Come, embrace one another, forgive one another, because even I myself, I have been receiving calls from different sides. Unification is being humble. Forget, forgive. That is the call from God, from Allah. Good morning to all my big brothers listening. I know that you are also doing your job. Queen is already waiting and waiting, because I know everybody is hungry and is already waiting for the graces of God. COVID is already ended. Their tenure is already out. We have fought the hard way, and they are going to follow. Thank you very much. Thank you for all of you. Mabuhay. Cheers. Masalam.